For mom, points for me. Chocolates for the teachers, oh yeah, points for me. Shoppers, you should totally go. Exclusions apply.
680 News Radio is your home for winning. It pays to listen.
This week, you could win a $100 gift card for Angus Glen Golf Club in Markham. Experience the magical Fairway of Lights display, inspired dinner menu, or Sunday brunch. Visit the Nike Pro Shop or plan your next 18 holes that hosted the Canadian Open and the Pan Am Games.
For your chance to win, visit toronto.citynews.ca/contests.
Vanderpump Rules has been renewed for another season, but you might not recognize the cast at all.
Light up the sky, burn it up like a candle. When life gets harder to hide the hair.
Bravo has announced season 12 will feature Lisa Vanderpump and a new group of what it's describing as close-knit servers who are complicatedly involved with one another as their iconic predecessors. Production starts next year. The premiere date and the new cast have not yet been announced. Vanderpump Rules debuted in 2013 and started as a spin-off of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Your business report is next.
680 News Time, 2:56.
From Toyo's Observe Winter Tires to Celsius and Open Country lines of all-weather tires, Toyo has a cold weather solution for you. Toyo Tires, making tires for your road. Ready to boost your inventory with Toyo product? Become a dealer today by visiting tirediscountergroup.ca/dealers.
Tire Discounter Group. TireDiscounterGroup.ca.
How do you, Subway holiday lover?
I'm dreaming of a turkey sub.
Well, hold on to your chestnuts for Subway's new festive faves meal. A 6-inch turkey sub with cranberry Dijon,
Ooh.
crispy potato rings,
Ooh.
and 2 red velvet cookies.
Ooh, jingle my bells.
No thank you, but all this delicious and fixins for just $8.99.
Yum. Maybe some sugar plums.
No idea what that is. The new festive faves meal. A merry $8.99. Only at Subway. At participating Canadian restaurants. Extras edition. Terms and conditions apply.
By the fireplace.
680 News Time, 2:57.
Now the Dynamic Funds Market Minute. The TSX is down 50 points or 0.2%, while the Canadian dollar is also lower on the day, sitting now at 71.10 cents U.S. Now with the latest from Wall Street, here's Bloomberg.
Federal Reserve officials are taking a cautious approach to interest rate cuts. That's the takeaway from the newly released minutes from their last meeting. They opted to lower the rates by a 0.25 percentage point at the meeting. Checking in with Wall Street, the Dow is wavering, going up or down a fraction. The S&P and NASDAQ both up 0.3%. Consumer confidence is up to the highest level in a year. The Conference Board's gauge of confidence rose 2.1% this month. That was in line with analyst estimates. The gauge of present conditions reached an 8-month high, and the measure of expectations for the next 6 months edged to an almost 3-year high. The home buying market is tipping more in the buyer's favor. According to S&P CoreLogic Case-Shiller, home price gains slowed in September. Prices were still 3.9% higher than a year ago, but the increase was smaller than the 4.3% rise we saw in August. I'm Nancy Lyons, Bloomberg Radio.
At Dynamic Funds, we believe that investment performance matters. Invest with advice. Visit dynamic.ca/advice to learn more.
Business is brought to you by Alexanians.
Hi, Ontario. It's Shelley Alexanian. After a little break, I'm back. And just in time for Alexanian's Fall Savings event. Want to spruce up your home? Come and see our exciting new cashmere and wool carpet collection from $6.45 a square foot installed, or fabulous fall area rug collection up to 60% off. Plus, don't pay for 1 full year OAC. Visit Alexanian.com for the location nearest you.
Linen Chest is starting its crazy Black Friday sale now. Whether it's getting your home ready for the holidays or getting an early start to buying your gifts at unbeatable prices, there is no greater time to shop early and save big. Besides incredible deals with savings up to 70%, you can now take an additional 20% off almost all regular prices, including many items that are already on sale at drastically reduced prices. The Black Friday sale is on right now at all Linen Chest stores.
Your trusted news, 680 News Radio is CFTR AM Toronto. It's 3 o'clock.
#1 for breaking news, traffic, and weather. 680 News Radio, Toronto.
It's Tuesday, November 26th. Good afternoon. I'm Scott Burnett.
I'm Judy Friedman. Here's what's making news this hour.
As President Trump threatens a 25% tariff on Canadian goods, the Prime Minister is calling a meeting with premiers, and the Fed say they share U.S. concerns about the border. It comes as opposition parties demand a detailed plan of attack.
Premier Ford angry at the tariff threat.
To compare us to Mexico is the most insulting thing I've ever heard.
How he says Ontario will retaliate.
Convicted killer Paul Bernardo is trying once again to get parole, but the family members of his young victims say he's a threat to public safety and he needs to remain behind bars.
Taylor Swift just left town, so the city is still crunching the numbers, but the general manager of economic development says it sure looks like Swifties were opening their wallets in a big way.
The Maple Leafs get their captain back on the practice ice, but don't be surprised if he doesn't play tomorrow in Florida. And we'll tee up a light night around the NHL. Sports at 15.
680 News Time, 3:01.
Time for traffic and weather together on the ones with Carrie Frunskes.
This report is brought to you by Air Canada Vacations. Eastbound 401, still two problems. Approaching the 410 in the Express, the HOV and left lane remain closed because of a collision. Then from the 410 to Dixie, all collector lanes are closed for a police investigation. So this has traffic forced onto a detour. And major delays. Eastbound 401 jammed solid from Mississauga Road to approaching the 410 in the Express. Incredibly slow from Mavis to the 410 if you're in the collectors. And the southbound 410 ramp to the eastbound 401, that's closed for this police investigation. So it's jammed coming down the southbound 410 from Courtney Park onto the westbound 401 and 403 ramps. Much slower than usual on the eastbound 403 as well. First, that backup from the QEW to just past Dundas. That's pretty typical. But then it's slow going from Erin Mills to the 401 on and off through that whole stretch. You can still get on to the eastbound 401 from the eastbound 403. You'll be automatically forced into the Express. Eastbound QEW. Yeah, it's a really busy drive east of Winston Churchill on and off to Dixie. Had some earlier problems. Eastbound Gardner, a bit busy from Jameson to Dufferin. And then approaching Spadina, the ramp lane is blocked with a stalled vehicle, but there's no delay there. Northbound on the DVP, a slow drive from Dundas to north of Lawrence. And if you're traveling the westbound 401, there's a collision approaching the 400 in the Express. Left lane and right lane closed. Delays westbound 401 from Victoria Park to Avenue, Express and Collectors. And then it's jammed up from the Allen to approaching the 400 in both the Express and Collectors. Slows again south of Pearson to the 410 in both the Express and Collectors. And on city streets, Fasken is closed in both directions between the 427 and Carlingview. That's for the same police investigation on the East 401. Black Friday starts early. Save up to 40% on your dream vacation to Cuba. To book, contact your travel agent or visit aircanadavacations.com. And now with the forecast, here's meteorologist Jason Fraser.
Mainly cloudy skies are expected for the rest of this evening. A few of us may end up having to contend with some nuisance rain showers. Overnight, we should end up seeing the rain move out. 6 degrees over at Pearson. Overnight low, 0 degrees.
680 News Time, 3:03.
Now, 680 News Radio. In-depth team coverage.
Plenty of reaction to Donald Trump's threat to hit all Canadian goods with a 25% tariff after he takes over the White House in January. The Prime Minister saying he'll be holding an emergency meeting with premiers tomorrow.
Premier Doug Ford also putting his 2 cents in on the move. We'll have more on that in just a moment. We begin our coverage with 680's Cormac McSweeney in Ottawa.
The Prime Minister says he had a good call with President Trump last night, saying they discussed the connections between our countries and the challenges we can work on together.
Laying out the facts, moving forward in constructive ways.
So in a Team Canada approach, the Prime Minister will meet with premiers tomorrow. The reason Trump is given for these tariffs is what he claims are drugs and migrants flowing over the border into the U.S. The Fed say they share the concerns of the U.S. and are looking at beefing up resources at our border. But Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland notes the last time Trump slapped tariffs on Canada, we responded.
We imposed dollar-for-dollar retaliatory tariffs on the United States.
NDP leader Jagmeet Singh is calling on the feds to fight like hell, and Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre asks, where's the strategy?
Tax increases that will drive billions and many jobs away. Where's the plan to put Canada first?
Cormac McSweeney, Parliament Hill.
Premier Ford didn't mince words when reacting to news about Trump's tariff plan, saying if the president-elect follows through, Ontario will have to retaliate. 680's Richard Southern is at Queen's Park.
Ford says he couldn't believe what he heard from U.S. President-elect Trump last night.
At 6:35, we received the biggest threat we've ever received from our closest friends and ally, from President-elect Trump. I found him insulting. It's like a family member stabbing you right in the heart. To compare us to Mexico is the most insulting thing I've ever heard. And I know, talking to other premiers last night, that we will do everything we can to secure our borders.
And he says Ontario stands ready to retaliate with tariffs of its own.
There is no choice. We have to retaliate.
Green Party leader Mike Schreiner.
The premier does seem to be more nervous and a bit rogue through all of this.
Ford says the province has produced a commercial that will be running across the United States with the message being, quote, stronger together. Richard Southern, Queen's Park.
680 News Time 3:05. As convicted killer Paul Bernardo tries for a third time to get parole, family members of his victims are urging the board to keep him behind bars. 680's Phil Martino joins us live with victim impact statements from a parole board hearing now underway in Quebec. Phil.
Judy, more than 30 years after the murders of 15-year-old Kristen French and 14-year-old Leslie Mahaffey, their family members are back in front of a parole board. The teen's killer, Paul Bernardo, is looking for day parole and full parole, and if neither is granted, he wants to be given absences from prison to attend a community program for sex offenders. Leslie's mother, Debbie, told the hearing, the biggest destruction of the peace and joy and hope in my life has been and remains Bernardo. Kristen's mother, Donna, delivered her victim impact statement remotely. She told the board her family has endured a senseless, brutal loss for decades. And the parole board also heard via video conference from Leslie's brother, Ryan. He was 7 at the time of her death. He said, as a child, I lost one of the largest parts of my world, and to my mother and father's own grief, I lost them. The families want the board to keep Bernardo locked up. He will have the opportunity to make his case before board members this afternoon. The board has up to 15 days to reach a decision. I'm Phil Martino.
A stretch of the eastbound 401 collectors in Etobicoke still off limits for a police investigation. OPP are searching the area for a suspect considered armed and dangerous. He is described as black, 25 to 35 years old, about 5'10" with long braided hair. Last seen wearing jeans and a blue or gray shirt near Fasken Drive in the 427. If you see him, you're asked to avoid him. Call 911 immediately. All lanes on the collectors from the 410, 403 to Dixie are still closed for the investigation. No word on what time they'll reopen.
This is 680 News. Happening now in Mississauga, Electra Utilities working to get the lights back on for around 2,000 hydro customers in the Huron-Ontario and Eglinton area. The electricity was knocked offline at about 1 this afternoon. The cause is still under investigation, but the estimated time of restoration is between 5 and 7 this evening.
As expected, Taylor Swift's 6 nights in Toronto ended up being a big boon for local businesses. 680's Momin Qureshi joins us with more on the preliminary figures.
Just how much money did Toronto make off the Eras tour? Well, there's a blank space where that number should be because the city is still calculating the total. But General Manager of Economic Development Pat Tobin tells me, according to data from Moneris, the company that tracks credit and debit card stats, there was a 57% increase in consumer spending downtown for one of the weeks Swift was here, and a 126% spike in foreign spending.
So the early indications is that we're going to hit those economic impact targets, and we delivered public safety, and we delivered, I think, a reasonable environment for residents who were here at the same time.
He says the city also showed that it's in the big leagues.
Toronto was able to demonstrate that it can deliver in the most effective yet fun way a major event of this scale.
At City Hall, I'm Momin Qureshi.
Billboard has named its pick for the number 2 greatest pop star of the 21st century.
Best believe I'm still bejeweled when I walk in the room.
The entertainment publication named Taylor Swift to the spot, saying she achieved pop stardom never before thought possible. Billboard also addressed the likely controversy the number 2 ranking would cause, saying it's largely because of how much later Swift got her start than the number 1 pick. The greatest pop star of the 21st century, well, they have yet to be revealed, but many fans speculate that Beyonce will be top of that list.
I mean, who else could it be? Coming up in just 30 seconds, we'll check on the price at the pumps.
680 News Time 309.
Ooh, Sunwing launched their Black Friday deals early.
Nah, you gotta wait until the last day. That's when the real deals drop.
I beg to differ. I'm a Sunwing financial advisor. You want more from your vacation, right?
That's easy. Book a Sunwing vacation. With these Black Friday deals, you'll be beaching in no time.
Actually, these Sunwing Black Friday deals make so much financial sense.
Book with your local travel advisor or at...
Now the News Radio Toronto gas price update. Enpro predicting the price will drop 2 cents at midnight to $1.53.9 cents a litre.
This is 680 News.
Greenhouse gas pollution heats the planet
and threatens our nature.
Canada's carbon price is designed to reduce this pollution in order to protect our environment.
And the Canada Carbon Rebate gives money back to Canadians.
In Ontario, an individual gets $560 this year, with a bonus for those in rural areas.
Have it both ways with the Canada Carbon Rebate. Find out how it works and how much you could receive at canada.ca/carbon rebate.
A message from the Government of Canada.
Mastermind Toys is kicking off Black Friday with savings of up to 50% off on fan favorites and brands that rarely go on sale. From the latest trends to timeless classics, we've got the perfect gift for everyone. Shop online for fast delivery and take advantage of our price match guarantee. Plus, with extended return dates, you can shop with confidence. Mastermind Toys Play experts are here to help and will even wrap your gifts for free. Find one of our 48 stores or shop 24/7 online. Mastermind Toys, where play comes first.
680 News Time, 311.
Traffic and weather together on the ones. Carrie Prunskis.
This report is brought to you by Seneca Polytechnic. It's going to take you ages to get through this area on the eastbound 401. 2 problems. Approaching the 410 in the express, the HOV and left lane remain closed because of a collision. Then from the 410 to Dixie, all collector lanes are shut down. This is for a police investigation. So eastbound 401 traffic is at a snail's pace at best. From Mississauga Road to approaching the 410 in the express and jammed from Mavis to the 410 in the collectors. You'll be forced onto the ramp that goes to either the 410 or the 403. The southbound 410 ramp to the eastbound 401 is closed, as well as the eastbound 403 collector ramp to the eastbound 401. But you can still get onto the eastbound 401 into the express lanes. And it's busy eastbound 403 from the QEW in Oakville to just past Dundas, and then delays again from Erin Mills on and off to the 401. Westbound on the 401, just before the 400 in the express, the left lane is still blocked with a collision, so they did reopen the right lane here, but a tough drive. Westbound 401 is backed up from Victoria Park to approaching the 400, both express and collectors. Slows again from south of Pearson to the 410 in the express and collectors. Southbound on the 404 DVP, it's busy approaching Shepherd to south of Lawrence, and you'll find the westbound Gardner backed up from Jarvis to Strawn. Delays westbound QEW from the 427 to west of here, Ontario, then Ford Drive to Trafalgar, and from Walker's Line to the 403 ramp in Burlington. Eastbound on the QEW, it's slow from Erin Mills to Dixie. Eastbound Gardner backed up from approaching Jameson to Dufferin. And then watch out on the eastbound Gardner just before Spadina. The ramp lane is blocked with a stalled vehicle, but no delay there. Northbound on the DVP, no problems, but some volume delays from Dundas to north of Lawrence. And on city streets, Fasken is still closed from the 427 to Carlingview for a police investigation. Join Seneca Polytechnic's open house Saturday, November 30th from 9 to noon. Meet program and service experts and take a campus tour. Register at senecapolytechnic.ca. And now with the forecast, here's Jason Fraser.
Well, across the region, we've been seeing many clouds move in. We've also been seeing the winds kick up as well. That has been making the air temperature feel cooler than what it should be feeling like for this time of year. Now, overnight, the good news is we do anticipate seeing the rain threat move out tomorrow. Mainly cloudy skies as we'll top out near 4 degrees. Over at Pearson, we're sitting at 5 degrees. Overnight low is 0.
680 News Time, 313.
Police in Newmarket appealing for dash cam footage following a serious multi-vehicle crash involving a dump truck. Investigators called to Davis and Warden around 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. They say the driver of the dump truck struck 4 vehicles traveling in the opposite direction. They stayed at the scene and were not injured. 3 other drivers were injured, though, including one with life-altering injuries, another with serious injuries. It's not clear what led to the crash. The investigation is ongoing. Witnesses asked to come forward. Your headlines and sports are next.
This is 680 News.
A Tim's Donut and Coffee is the original collab. And right now in Toronto, any classic donut is $1 when you buy any size original or dark roast coffee. Get a deal on the iconic duo with a Tim's Dollar Donut. Plus tax at participating restaurants in Toronto for limited time. Terms apply. See app for details.
Ho, ho!
Oh, holy moly.
Santa, welcome to Indigo.
Heather, Indigo's chief book lover. Just who I was looking for. Point me to the perfect book for the little ones on my list who love to dress in tutus and ballet shoes.
Oh, Santa, so glad you asked. One of my faves this season, a pop-up book of Swan Lake with the real Tchaikovsky music embedded in every page.
Well, I'm happy I ran into you.
At Indigo, we've got gifts so special, even Santa shops here.
Where do you find your go-to festive favorites? At Metro, of course. Get high-quality meat like boneless, skinless chicken breast for just $4.66 per pound. But only until November 27th at your go-to Metro or online at metro.ca.
Toronto's trusted news. 680 News Radio.
Cloudy and 5 degrees in downtown Toronto. Good afternoon. I'm Scott Burnett.
I'm Judy Friedman. Here are the top stories this hour.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau holding an emergency meeting with premiers tomorrow after Donald Trump says he'll impose a 25% tariff on all Canadian goods once he takes office. Premier Doug Ford also reacting to Trump's tariff promise.
I found him insulting. It's like a family member stabbing you right in the heart.
Ford adding Ontario will be ready to retaliate with tariffs of its own. The parole board for convicted, a parole hearing for convicted schoolgirl murderer Paul Bernardo, hearing victim impact statements today from the families of his victims. This is the third parole hearing for the 60-year-old who is asking for full and day parole. And around 5,000, make that 2,000 hydro customers are in the dark near here, Ontario and Eglinton in Mississauga. Electra hoping to have those lights back on by 7 p.m. And coming up after sports.
Big snow blowers and powerful plows will be working at the country's busiest airport this winter. Pearson is assuring travelers it's ready for whatever is on the way.
And now time for sports. Here's Alex Xero.
Judy, the Leafs open their Florida road trip tomorrow against the Panthers, and while Austin Matthews did return to practice today, it sounds like the captain needs a little more time.
You know, individual skates are much different than a team practice, so, this being kind of like the first actual team practice I skated. I mean, I felt really good, but, might need maybe one or two to really get my legs and lungs back under me.
Matthews was practicing on a line with William Nylander and Pontus Holmberg, while the banged-up Max Domi will not travel with the team to the Sunshine State. Just the two games around the NHL this evening. Judy's Montreal Canadiens will host the Utah Hockey Club, and Sportsnet will have Boston, Vancouver at 7. In New Jersey, Devils forward Timo Meier has received a one-game suspension for last night's cross-check on Nashville's Zachary Leroux. Meanwhile, the event features some of the top prospects in the 25 draft, and in London this evening, it's game 1 of the CHL USA Prospects Challenge. That gets going at 7. Game 2 is tomorrow in Oshawa. And we got 7 games on the go in the Champions League right now, and an early goal from Gabriel Martinelli has Arsenal leading Sporting Lisbon 1-0. No score between Bayern Munich and PSG, also goalless between Manchester City and Feyenoord. Sports at 15 and 45 past every hour or anytime at sportsnet.ca.
No Frills has big holiday deals like Allen's or Oasis Juice, Del Monte Nectar, or Arizona Iced Tea for only $1 until November 27th. We're here to make your holiday spread shine. No Frills won't be beat. See flyer for details.
Air Canada's Black Friday deals are now boarding. Take off with savings on flights worldwide, vacation packages, and more. Then return with your memories and your share of 75 million Aeroplan points. Book fast at aircanada.com/Black Friday or contact your travel agent. Conditions apply.
You're hurt and injuries have changed your life. You're not working, can't help your family, and feel like your life is slipping away. Hi, I'm David Himmelfarb, Himpro Managing Partner. Our team of highly rated lawyers has over 40 years of experience fighting insurance companies and winning major settlements for clients. Visit himpro.ca today to experience the Himpro advantage. That's himpro.ca. Himpro, serious results for serious injuries fast.
Himpro. 680 News Time 318.
The country's busiest airport assuring travelers it is ready for whatever winter throws its way in the coming weeks and months. 680's Charlene Close taking a look at Pearson's plan.
The airport's snow fighting fleet is made up of 161 specialized pieces of equipment, including supersized snow blowers and powerful plows. Todd Brown is the Associate Director of Airfield Operations.
We have upped our staffing levels a little bit and also made those purchases on those big snow blowers and some of our large loaders. More pushing power, more blowing power to try to put up with that 20-centimeter wet snow event, which is really the most difficult thing we get here.
He says crews are already prepared to sweep, plow, and blow roughly 5 million square meters of surface space to keep the planes moving safely. That's the equivalent of about 3,000 NHL rinks. The de-icing team
team is also ready to roll. Last year, about 15,000 aircraft were de-iced. I'm Charlene Close.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu saying a U.S. brokered ceasefire deal between Israel and Hezbollah has been approved by his security cabinet. The deal calls for a gradual withdrawal of IDF troops from southern Lebanon. Hezbollah is also expected to fall back from the area. ABC's Tom Sufi Burridge with more.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says that Israel can now focus on the threat of Iran. Of course, Hezbollah is an Iranian proxy, but he says that Hezbollah in his address has effectively been greatly diminished over the last few months of fighting.
Hezbollah also set to approve the deal, though it has not yet made a formal announcement. The Israeli military also issued a flurry of evacuation warnings, a sign it was aiming to inflict punishment on Hezbollah down to the final moments before any ceasefire takes hold. Coming up in 60 seconds, traffic and your long-range forecast.
680 News Time 320.
Hey everyone, Sam from Best Brand Appliance. This is for all you builders, designers, contractors, and kitchen companies. If you haven't experienced Best Brand Appliance yet, give us a chance to show you how we can elevate your client's experience to a level unseen. Everyone says the same thing about best service, best price. We don't talk, we just do. We also have the best referral programs available. Come check out the largest Sub-Zero Wolf Miele displays in the whole world. They have their best promo on now since 2020. No BS. If you're in the market for luxury appliances, Miele, Sub-Zero, Wolf, there's only Best Brand Appliance. Now in Toronto, Vaughan, and Oakville, Burlington.
You enjoy reliable mail delivery. Postal workers in Toronto and the GTA work hard every day to make that happen. The Canadian Union of Postal Workers asks for your support in our fight for fairness, no back-to-work legislation by our government, and a stronger public post office to meet the needs of your communities. Canada Post is a Crown corporation that does not use taxpayer money to operate. Find out how you can support us at cupw.ca. A message from CUPW Toronto Local.
680 News Time 321.
Traffic and weather together on the ones with Carrie Prunskis.
This report is brought to you by Leon's. Eastbound on the 401, just getting word from MTO that the collision approaching the 410 in the Express has cleared. And I'm just checking those cameras to confirm. Indeed, woo! So a little bit of relief there if you're in the Express lanes, but I can still see all collector lanes closed on the eastbound 401 from the 410 to Dixie. This is for an ongoing police investigation, but there has been another change. MTO saying that the southbound 410 ramp to the eastbound 401 has reopened, as well as the eastbound 403 collector ramp to the eastbound 401, where previously you were only getting onto the eastbound 401 via the Express. So some relief there as well, but still a tough drive. So eastbound 401 jammed from Mississauga Road to the 410 and the Express, and very heavy from Mavis to the 410 if you're in the collector lanes. Through Toronto, it's busy from east of the 427 to east of the 400, Express and collectors, and then filling in approaching Yonge to Leslie, alternately Express and collectors, and it's slow in Durham as well from Brock Road to east of Salem. Westbound 401, the collision approaching the 400 in the Express, that's gone, but it's jammed up from Victoria Park all the way to the 400 in the Express, and delays from Victoria Park to Islington if you're in the collectors. Slows again as you approach Dixie to the 410, both Express and collectors. Southbound on the 404 DVP, that's slow from Finch to York Mills. Westbound Gardner, a delay as you approach Jarvis to Strawn, and it's busy again from Islington, Express and collectors onto the QEW. It's slow to west of Cawthra, and then busy sections westbound QEW from Ford Drive on and off to the 403 ramp in Burlington. In town, Fasken is closed in both directions between the 427 and Carlingview. That's also for the same police investigation on the eastbound 401. Leon's Better Than Black Friday sale is on now. Save up to 50% on select furniture and mattresses. Plus, get Black Friday specials on select appliances. Ends Wednesday. And with the extended forecast, here's Jason Fraser.
Lots of cloud cover in around the GTA, but here's the good news. We're finally starting to see the rain threat dissipate just in time for the evening rush to begin, so we got to count our lucky stars. The downside, though, is I can't rule out the possibility of a lingering rain shower across the GTA. Overnight, we're going to drop down to the freezing mark for tomorrow and Thursday, mainly cloudy skies. A few sun peaks are possible, high temperature of 4 degrees, and then, my friends, it is going to start looking like winter around here as we're going to struggle by Friday just to get to 3 degrees, 2 degrees by Saturday. Both days we could end up seeing some flurries. And then on Sunday, I'm tracking the possibility of another system that could dump some accumulating snow. This is all thanks in part to a northwest wind that will likely tap into some lake effect snow. So we're going to keep our eyes on that. In the meantime, 5 degrees over at Pearson right now. Overnight low is 0 degrees.
Coming up at 3:30, we're getting reaction out of Ottawa and from Queen's Park to Donald Trump's 25% tariff promise for all Canadian goods, and convicted schoolgirl killer Paul Bernardo trying today for a third time to secure parole. We'll have the details on these stories and much more straight ahead.
680 News Time, 324.
Krypton, sulfur hexafluoride, these aren't newly discovered planets or a new toothpaste. They are high-purity spec gases used in mass spectrometers, semiconductor manufacturing, preserving biosamples, and laser cutting steel. Hey, it's Richard from Joseph Gas, and I've got some big news. We now carry the full line of spec gases from argon to xenon, CO2, helium, nitrogen, and more, all at purity levels that you require. Joseph Gas, your new spec gas headquarters. 201 Basaltic Road and at josephgas.com. That's Joseph with an F as in family.
This holiday season, feel good and win.
Of 680 News Radio is brought to you by the Chesterfield Shop.
The Chesterfield Shop.
Pam, with all of the challenges these days, it seems that this year our Black Friday sale is more important than ever.
Yes, Steve. We're optimistic moving forward, and reliable friends like the Chesterfield Shop are where you'll find the best selection and specials anywhere.
So visit any of our 6 great locations and you'll have one less challenge to worry about this holiday season.
Chesterfield Shop, your leather superstar.
Black Friday savings all week long, every day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Half of all men over 40 have some form of erectile dysfunction or experience a bend or curve. Urigen ED can give you hope again. Learn about pulse acoustic wave therapy and what Urigen ED can do for you. This 20-minute medical treatment is designed to break up blockages and repair blood vessels. Now in Toronto, Burlington, Hamilton, Whitby, Cambridge, and Barrie areas. Call 416-707-2020. That's 416-707-2020. Or visit UrigenED.com. That's UROGENED.com.
Time for all Christmas news. A giant talking Christmas tree named, appropriately, Woody has returned for the holiday season at the Micmac Mall in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. The robotic tree, which stands 2 stories tall, was awakened yesterday by a group of cheering children. Woody attracted international attention last year when Jimmy Fallon played some video clips on The Tonight Show.
Christmas news
25 minutes past the hour
on 680 News Radio Toronto.
Now time for your Dynamic Funds Market Minute. We check the markets up on this side of the border right now. The TSX currently is down 23 points to 25,386, while the loonie is also down 71.1 cents U.S., down 4/100ths cent. With more from Wall Street, here's Bloomberg.
Dick's Sporting Goods is raising its full-year sales outlook after posting strong results in the back-to-school season ahead of the holidays. The retailer says there was high demand for sports gear. But Best Buy is cutting its full-year guidance on sluggish demand for electronics and appliances. The markets are all trading higher right now, up between 0.1 and 0.4%. Amgen shares are tumbling after its experimental obesity shot failed to outperform those of its rivals and showed a high rate of side effects. The shot did help patients in the trial lose as much as 20% of their body weight, but analysts had hoped it would help them lose about 25%. Eli Lilly shares are rising due to a newly proposed rule by the Biden administration that would require the U.S. government to cover weight loss drugs, potentially expanding access for millions of obese Americans. I'm Nancy Lyons, Bloomberg Radio.
What's your portfolio's most valuable asset? It may be your financial advisor. Visit dynamic.ca/advice to see why advice matters.
Business is brought to you by Alexanians.
Surprise! It's Shelley Alexanian. I'm back, and after discovering some fabulous new products for my signature collection, I had to share them with you for Alexanian's fall savings event. Like stunning laminate flooring from $249 a square foot, waterproof luxury vinyl from $349 a square foot, and white oak hardwood from just $549 a square foot. Plus, don't pay for 1 year OAC. Visit Alexanian.com for the location nearest you.
This holiday season, it's not all about the ho-ho-ho. It's all about the low-low-low. Lone Star's 2 can dine for $59.99. Enjoy a Tex-Mex 3-course meal with your choice of AAA steak, sizzling fajitas, barbecue ribs, shrimp tacos, and more. Start with the famous queso and top it off with churros for dessert. A 3-course meal for 2 for $59.99. Your home for fajitas, Ritas, and good times.
680 News Time, 3:30.
Number 1 for breaking news, traffic, and weather. 680 News Radio, Toronto.
It's Tuesday, November the 26th. Good afternoon. I'm Judy Friedman.
I'm Scott Burnett. Here's what's making news right now.
It's all hands on deck. The Trudeau government responds to President Donald Trump's new tariff threat by calling a meeting with premiers, pitching new resources for the border, and not ruling out retaliatory measures.
Ford goes off on Trump tariffs.
It's like a family member stabbing you right in the heart. The most insulting thing I've ever heard.
What he and his fellow premiers are planning to do about it.
The family members of Kristen French and Leslie Mahaffey want the man who murdered them to remain behind bars. Coming up, more from Paul Bernardo's parole hearing in Quebec.
A Burlington woman is accused of cashing in on Taylor Swift mania in Toronto. She faces charges for allegedly selling tickets but never giving them to the buyers.
Austin Matthews makes an appearance at Maple Leafs practice, but will he play tomorrow against the Panthers? And a pair of Canadian teams hit the ice this evening. Sports at 45.
680 News Time, 3:31.
Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. And with a look at your drive this afternoon, a very busy Carrie Prunskis.
Yes, indeed, Judy. This report brought to you by the Wizard of Oz. Lots of things are changing, but still in place is this full collector lane closure on the eastbound 401 from the 410 to Dixie. All collector lanes are shut down for a police investigation. It's been going on since the early morning hours. So eastbound 401 is jammed from Mavis to the 410 in the collectors. And if you're in the Express, well, there was an earlier problem at the 410 and the Express, but at Dixie and the Express, the right lane is still closed for this police investigation as well. So it's extremely slow from Mississauga Road to Dixie if you're in the Express lanes. And then busy through Toronto from the 427 to Leslie, alternately Express and collectors. You can get onto the eastbound 401 from the southbound 410 and from the eastbound 403. A new problem on the westbound 401. It's at Bathurst in the collectors. Looks like a center lane is blocked with a stalled vehicle. Delays westbound 401 from Victoria Park to west of the 400, alternately Express and collectors. Slows again as you approach Dixie to the 410 in both the Express and collectors. Southbound 400 backed up from Shepherd to the 401 ramps. And it's busy southbound 404 DVP from Finch to about York Mills. Westbound Gardner, a delay as you approach Jarvis to Strawn, and then slows again from Islington onto the 427 ramp. And there's still a problem on the eastbound Gardner just before Spadina. The ramp lane is blocked with a stalled vehicle, but only busy eastbound Gardner into the construction from Parkside to Dufferin. And on city streets, Fasken is closed in both directions from the 427 to Carlingview for a police investigation. The Ross Petty Panto is back. You and your family are invited to a holiday musical extravaganza. Enjoy The Wizard of Oz like you've never seen it before. Tickets at CanadianStage.com. And with the forecast, here's meteorologist Jason Fraser.
Cloudy skies are expected for the rest of this afternoon and into this evening. A few of us might see a quick pop-up rain shower, but we're not expecting much in terms of any accumulating rain or snow. 6 degrees over at Pearson, and our overnight low is 0 degrees.
680 News Time, 3:33.
Now, 680 News Radio. In-depth team coverage.
The Prime Minister has called an emergency meeting with the premiers for tomorrow after U.S. President-elect Trump warned he would impose tariffs on Canadian and Mexican goods. The 25% tariff warning is over border security. Trump says they would remain in place until Canada stops drugs and illegal immigrants from crossing over our shared border.
Premier Doug Ford among those reacting to the news. More on that in just a moment. We begin with 680's Parliament Hill reporter Cormac McSweeney with reaction in Ottawa.
In the face of this serious economic threat, the Prime Minister plans to hold a virtual meeting tomorrow with the premiers.
The Team Canada approach is what works.
The tariffs could cause massive economic disruptions with more than $2 billion of goods crossing the border every day. Ian Lee with the Sprott School of Business believes this threat is a negotiating tactic by Trump.
He is sending a shot across the bow before he even takes office.
Trump claims the tariff is needed to force us to stop drugs and migrants from flowing over the border. So the Fed say they'll work with Americans and have already been eyeing new resources for border security, while the finance minister won't rule out retaliatory tariffs if Trump follows through. That doesn't satisfy NDP leader Jagmeet Singh.
The only thing a bully responds to is strength. So where is our plan to fight back?
Rather than panicking, we're engaging in constructive ways.
Trudeau says he had a good phone call with President Trump last night. Cormac McSweeney, Parliament Hill.
And the premier didn't mince any words when reacting to Trump's threat of tariffs. 680's Queen's Park reporter Richard Southern with more on that.
An angry and upset Premier Ford appeared to speak directly to U.S. President-elect Trump here at the legislature.
It's like a family member stabbing you right in the heart. To compare us to Mexico is the most insulting thing I've ever heard from our friends and closest allies. We love our American friends, and they love us. And this is no way to treat your closest ally. In saying that, we do have a problem. We need to address that problem. And that's what we're going to be talking to the Prime Minister about, the plan on how to secure our borders as well.
Opposition leader Marit Stiles taking some issue with it.
Premier seems to be coming off as surprised, unprepared for this. You know, when you're dealing with a bully like that, you can't come across as weak or naive or afraid.
Ford says Ontario will be launching an ad campaign promoting Ontario throughout the United States. Richard Southern, Queen's Park.
680 News Time, 3:36. The families of murdered teens Kristen French and Leslie Mahaffey are doing everything they can to ensure the man who killed them remains in prison. Paul Bernardo's parole hearing is underway this afternoon at a medium security institution in Quebec. 680's Phil Martino joins us live with the very latest. Phil.
Scott, Paul Bernardo, who is now 60 years old, has been denied parole twice in the past, but he's trying again. He wants both day parole and full parole, and if neither is granted, he wants to be given absences from prison so he can attend a community program for sex offenders. His victims' family members, however, are asking the Parole Board of Canada to keep him locked up. In her emotional victim impact statement, Leslie Mahaffey's mother told the Parole Board, "I remain hopeful that you understand the sadistic, manipulative, and psychopathic nature of Bernardo's behavior and the endless threat he represents to public safety." In addition, the board heard from Leslie's brother and from Kristen French's mother. The board heard that the Correctional Services of Canada recommends Bernardo's day and full parole request be denied, and that it believes he has not met the criteria for escorted or unescorted absences from prison. Bernardo will have the opportunity to make his case before board members today. I'm Phil Martino.
Happening now in Mississauga, just over 300 homes and businesses remain without power. The outage covers the area of Hurontario Street and Eglinton Avenue and impacted nearly 5,000 customers at its peak. Electra says crews are on scene now, and they estimate restoration time between 6 and 8 this evening.
Peel Regional Police cracking down on crime in a specific area of Mississauga that has been the subject of ongoing complaints. Officers from the Community Incident Response Team at both 12 and 11 divisions have been focused on the Dundas and Hurontario Street area. The complaints are mostly tied to a business plaza on the east side of Hurontario and include trespassing, liquor offenses, drugs, and other crimes. Since the start of this year, police have responded to over 170 calls for service relating to the plaza and surrounding area. There have been 50 arrests and $30,000 in drugs seized.
A Burlington woman is accused of selling thousands of dollars worth of Taylor Swift concert tickets, but never actually giving them to the buyer.
Toronto police say 28 people paid a total of just under $70,000 for tickets to the Taylor Swift shows at Rogers Centre. It's alleged Denise Tesor was selling them on Facebook Marketplace using the alias Denise Blackhawk. Some people bought them from her in August of last year, and they were told the tickets would not be released until closer to the concert date. But the victims never got the tickets, and when they asked for a refund, they were told the money was gone. Tesor faces 34 charges. Investigators think more people may have been ripped off, and Toronto police have teamed up with Halton Police on the case. I'm Charlene Close.
We'll check your gas prices next.
680 News Time, 3:39.
For decades, clean, reliable nuclear power has safely provided over 50% of Ontario's electricity. This low-cost, low-carbon energy source helps power our homes, schools, hospitals, and businesses. And as our population and economy grows and energy demands rise, nuclear will continue to power the lives of Ontarians for generations to come. See how nuclear is helping power the future at opg.com.
Now the News Radio Toronto gas price update. MPro predicts the price will drop by 2 cents at midnight to just under $1.54 a litre at most GTA stations. Traffic and weather coming up next.
This is 680 News Radio.
This gas price update brought to you by Nav Bhatia's Genesis Mississauga.
From courtside to luxury rides, go where the basketball stars shine, on the road.
Visit genesismississauga.ca today for an experience centered around you.
So get this, the Ontario Liberals elected Bonnie Crombie as their new leader.
Bonnie, who?
I just sent you her profile. Her first act as leader, asking donors for $1 million for her salary.
That's excessive. She's a big carbon tax supporter.
Oh yeah, check out her record as mayor.
Oh, get out of here. She even increased taxes in this economy.
Yeah, higher taxes, carbon taxes. She sounds expensive.
Bonnie Crombie and the Ontario Liberals.
They just don't get it. That'll cost you.
A message from the Ontario PC Party.
If it's a flat or a squeal, a wobble or peel, your tread's worn down or you need a new wheel, wherever you go, you can get a pro at Tread Experts.
From Toyo's Observe Winter Tires to the Celsius and Open Country lines of all-weather tires, Toyo has a cold weather solution for you. Toyo Tires, making tires for your road. Find a Toyo Tread Experts dealer near you at treadexperts.ca/locations.
From tires to auto repair, we're always there. TreadExperts.ca.
680 News Time, 3:41.
Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Carrie Prunskis.
This report is brought to you by Quest Trade. Eastbound on the 401 from the 410 to Dixie, collector lanes remain closed, and this is for a police investigation. It looks like the express lanes have mostly reopened. There was an issue at the 410 and as well as at Dixie, but as I'm scanning the cameras, I see a new problem on the eastbound 401 just east of here, Ontario in the express. HOV lane is now blocked. I believe this is a stalled vehicle, but that's just going to make these delays even worse. So jammed on the eastbound 401 from Mavis to the 410 in the collectors. You'll be forced onto that ramp that will either take you to the 410 or the 403. And if you're in the express, it's backed up from Mississauga Road to east of here, Ontario, where, again, that HOV lane is closed. At Dixie in the express, that right lane has reopened. Southbound 410, MTO telling us now that the ramp to the eastbound 401 is still closed for this police investigation. And it looks like that eastbound 403 ramp to the eastbound 401 collectors is blocked as well, but you can use the ramp that goes into the express. Westbound on the 401, approaching Bathurst in the collectors, the center lane is blocked with a stalled vehicle. Busy westbound 401, delays from Victoria Park, alternately express and collectors to Dixon, then approaching Dixie to the 410 express and collectors, and from James Snow Parkway to west of Highway 25. Slow drive westbound Gardner, approaching Jarvis to Strawn, and then busy from Islington, express and collectors onto the 427 ramp. It's slow westbound QEW from the 427 to west of Cawthra, and then busy sections from Ford Drive on and off to the 403 ramp in Burlington. Eastbound on the QEW Gardner, delays east of Winston Churchill to Dixie, and from Parkside to Dufferin. Then just before Spadina, the ramp lane is blocked with a stalled vehicle, so be careful there. There's no delay. Northbound DVP, it's backed up from Dundas onto the 404 to Shepherd. Earn up to 50% more money when you switch to Quest Wealth portfolios before December 31st. Have your money managed for free on new deposits. Details at questtrade.com. And now with the forecast, here's Jason Fraser.
Cloudy skies expected for the rest of this evening. May end up seeing just a lingering shower moving through as well. Temperatures will continue to decline, and it's going to feel rather chilly. This is all thanks in part to those winds that have been blowing. And then for tomorrow, we'll see a few sun peaks, but mainly cloudy skies are expected as we'll top out near 4 degrees. 5 degrees over at Pearson right now. Overnight low, 0 degrees.
6:80 news time at 3:43.
The man who crashed his BMW into another car on Parkside Drive 3 years ago, killing the couple inside, has been found guilty of 2 counts of dangerous driving causing death. The violent chain reaction crash happened October 12th of 2021. 41-year-old Artur Kotula was driving at over 100 kilometers an hour in a 50 zone when he collided into the back of a row of vehicles stopped in a backup at Lakeshore Boulevard. The Toronto Star reports the judge overseeing the case has rejected the defense claim that Kotula blacked out because of a medical episode. 71-year-old Vladimir Avila died at the scene, while his 69-year-old wife Fatima died a day later in hospital. Sports and today's top headlines are next.
This is 680 News Radio.
Infinity of Willowdale and Newmarket Infinity invites you this month to celebrate the Infinity 35 Years of Luxury sales event. Don't you owe it to yourself to indulge in automotive luxury? Is it something you've thought of but don't believe it can happen? That's where we come in. Let our team with great deals and incentives turn that pumpkin you're driving into a chariot fit for you. Come see us at Infinity of Willowdale or Newmarket Infinity.
Black Friday comes just once a year, bringing the best deals of the season. And this year, Atlas Care Heating and Cooling is turning up the heat. For a limited time only, when you buy a new high-efficiency furnace, you'll get an air conditioner absolutely free.
That's right. Buy a furnace, get the AC on us. Get ready for cozy winters and cool summers. But hurry, this Black Friday deal won't last. Let the pros in the green trucks save you big bucks.
Feel right at home with Atlas Care. Call Atlas Care today and make sure you're ready for every season.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. 680 News Radio.
Right now, downtown Toronto, it is mostly cloudy and 5 degrees. Good afternoon. I'm Judy Friedman.
I'm Scott Burnett. Here's the top stories right now.
The Prime Minister calling an emergency meeting with the premiers for tomorrow to discuss how to handle the proposed 25% tariffs that U.S. President-elect Trump has warned he would impose if nothing's done to stem the flow of illegal immigrants and drugs across the Canada-U.S. border. Convicted killer Paul Bernardo once again asking to be released from jail, while his victims' families are giving impact statements in a Quebec courtroom at a parole hearing. They want the killer to remain behind bars for what he did to their loved ones. And coming up after sports, how Canadians plan to spend this holiday season.
Time for sports. Here's Alex Xero.
All right, Scott, really good sign at Leafs practice today. Austin Matthews, who's missed 8 straight, took part skating with William Nylander and Pontus Holmberg.
Yeah, felt good. I mean, it's nice, obviously, to be back in a group team setting and, be able to practice in more of a competitive environment like that. So, it felt pretty good and, just take it step by step.
It does sound like Matthews may miss tomorrow's game in Florida, could be back Saturday in Tampa Bay. The injured Max Domi will not make the trip to the Sunshine State. Just the 2 games in the NHL tonight. The Vancouver Canucks get Brock Besser back in their lineup. They're in Boston at 7, and Sportsnet will have the game while Utah's in Montreal. For last night's cross-check on Nashville's Zachary Leroux, New Jersey forward Timo Meier has received a 1-game suspension. Meanwhile, some of the top 2025 prospects will be on the ice in London this evening. It's game 1 of the CHL USA Prospects Challenge. Face-off coming up at 7. Lots more Champions League soccer this afternoon, and moments ago, Erling Haaland giving Manchester City a 1-0 lead over Feyenoord. Arsenal with a 3-0 lead over Sporting Lisbon, and at the break, it is a 1-0 lead for Bayern Munich over Paris Saint-Germain. Sports at 15 and 45 past every hour or anytime at sportsnet.ca.
Sports is brought to you by Zankin Automotive Group.
Don't wait any longer. Zankin Automotive Group's Black Friday event ends Friday. Choose from thousands of new and used vehicles, 19 of your favorite brands. Make your best deal, cash, lease, or finance, and receive a $500 tire credit and an extra $1,000 cash on your trade-in. But only till Friday. Find your Zankin Automotive Group location at zankinauto.com.
part of the Zankin Auto Group.
Black Friday is on now at SportCheck. Save up to 60% on winter jackets, shoes, equipment, electronics, and more from the brands you love. See in store or sportcheck.ca for more details. Say it with sport this holiday season.
Picture your loved one enjoying a day filled with chef-prepared meals, engaging activities, housekeeping, and flexible care options. That's life at Chartwell. Visit chartwell.com to book a tour at one of our residences in the Toronto Greater Area today.
680 News Time, 3:48.
A man in his 20s is in hospital with serious injuries after an industrial accident near Sugar Beach. Toronto police say a metal wall fell on the man's leg around 11 this morning at a construction site near Richardson Street and Queens Quay East. Paramedics tell 680 News Radio the man in his 20s has serious but non-life-threatening injuries. The Ministry of Labour is now investigating. Well, Canadians are expected to spend more during the holidays this year, but consumers say they're still looking for deals. City's Rianne Campbell reports.
In an annual poll conducted by the Retail Council of Canada and Leger, shoppers surveyed said they would spend about $972 this holiday season. That's up 8% more than last year.
75% of Canadians told us they're going to maintain or increase their holiday budget. And one of the main reasons for that increase in spending a bit more compared to last year is inflation at about 27%. Canadians are making sure to take into account potentially higher prices, but at the same time, they're allocating more money to their budget accordingly.
Santos says Canadians are paying attention to how much they spend and who they're buying for.
A survey from redflagdeals.com also shows Canadians are planning to shop on deal days. Coming up in 60 seconds, a check on traffic and your extended forecast.
680 News Time, 3:50.
Hey, it's Dean Sikolas. The All-In Clear-Out event is on now with the Drive Auto Group at Village, Morningside, Ajax, and Midway Nissan. Get lease rates as low as 0.99% for 24 months on 2024 Nissan Sentra and Rogue. Or take advantage of finance rates starting from 0.99% on the 2024 Nissan Kicks Play. Go all in at the Nissan All-In Clear-Out event at Midway Nissan, Village Nissan, Ajax Nissan, and Morningside Nissan, driving you to a better deal.
Looking for a new home for your business? Look no further than Calgary. Offering a great place to live, a young skilled talent pool, space to expand, and low cost of doing business, your company will thrive here. Every day, Calgarians embrace challenges to create startups and to scale up. From clean tech, health, quantum, aerospace, and more. Join our community of innovators that will support your growth. Because in Calgary, it's all possible. Contact us at info@calgaryeconomicdevelopment.com and learn what Calgary can do for your business.
680 News Time, 3:51.
Time for traffic and weather together. First, with a look at your drive, here's Carrie Prunskis.
This report is brought to you by No Frills. Eastbound on the 401 from the 410 to Dixie, collector lanes remain closed, and this is for a police investigation, so major delays. There's also an issue on the eastbound 401, or at least there was, east of here, Ontario on the Express. Yeah, that looks to have cleared now from the HOV lane, but still major delays on the eastbound 401. Very slow from approaching Mavis in the Express, and then from Mavis right through to the 410, collector lanes are jammed. So it's getting a lot better in the Express lanes very quickly. However, still some ramp closures in place. The southbound 410 ramp to the eastbound 401 is shut down, as well as the eastbound 403 ramp that goes to the eastbound 401 collectors. And it's slow on the eastbound 403 from the QEW in Oakville to just past Dundas, then busy sections through Mississauga as you head towards the 401. Westbound on the 401 at Bathurst in the collectors, one of the center lanes is blocked with a stalled vehicle. It's busy westbound 401 from Victoria Park, alternately express and collectors to Dixon. Drags again as you approach Dixie to the 410 express and collectors. Then busy in Milton from James Snow Parkway to west of Highway 25. Southbound 404 DVP, a slow go from Finch to York Mills. And you'll find the southbound 400 backed up from approaching Shepherd onto the 401 ramps. Northbound on the 400, getting busy from Finch up to Langstaff. Another delay from the King en route to north of King Road. And if you're heading up the northbound DVP 404, that's filling in from Dundas to about York Mills. And then slow in sections from north of Steeles to north of 16th Avenue. Celebrate the 300th No Frills opening on December 6th at 7 a.m. Free gift for the first 300 customers, an $80 value at 325 Central Parkway, Mississauga. Limit one per customer. And with the extended forecast, here's Jason Fraser.
Well, many of us are seeing plenty of cloud cover. The good news is most of the rain has moved east of the downtown area. The downside is I cannot rule out the possibility of another round of some rain showers. It's going to be more nuisance rain showers than anything else. For tomorrow, mainly cloudy skies. A few sun peaks as we'll top out near 4 degrees. Pretty much the same for Thursday. As we get into Friday, that's when we start increasing our chances for some flurries as we start to get some much cooler air as well as some moisture in the air. It's going to be the same for Saturday. And for Sunday, that is where I am potentially tracking our next snowmaker, all because of what's going to be happening with the winds. There is a possibility that the setup could be prime in order for us to see some lake effect snow develop. Over at Pearson, we're at 5 degrees. Overnight low tonight, 0.
Coming up at the top of the hour, an emergency meeting has been called for tomorrow to discuss the upcoming Trump administration's threat of tariffs over border security issues. Reaction from the Prime Minister and Premier. It's all coming up in team coverage at 4 o'clock.
680 News Time, 3:54.
At Desjardins, we speak business. We speak startup funding and comprehensive game plans. We've mastered made-to-measure growth and expansion advice, and we can talk your ear off about transferring your business when the time comes. Because at Desjardins Business, we speak the same language you do, business. So join the more than 400,000 Canadian entrepreneurs who already count on us and contact Desjardins today. We'd love to talk business.
680 News Radio is your home for winning. It pays to listen.
This week, you could win a $100 gift card for Angus Glen Golf Club in Markham. Experience the magical Fairway of Lights display, inspired dinner menu, or